Victoria's Day, really, she was like chomping at the bit to get over the Rainbow Bridge, let me tell you. So everybody she knew was like gone. It's just us remaining, and so we're gonna celebrate her life a little bit. Yeah, we're just gonna get, let's see, I don't know if you know everybody, but I'm Rob Storey's son. This is Kennedy, daughter, Brennan, son, Rhett, son, Tate, son. So those are my kids. As you know, my brother passed, my sister passed, my father passed. Last man standing, literally right here. So we're going to get started with a prayer by a family friend, Janet Lowe. Give us a opening prayer, and we'll go to that.
Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be here to celebrate the life and strength and the love and faith of Loretta Storey. We're grateful for her example to us, for her stories, perseverance and love and caring for those about her, and especially children, and how she could win people over and help them become the best people that they can become. To know that she was always there to help them and to stand behind them and to encourage them. We're grateful for her encouragement in our lives and for her love and acceptance and well wishes always. We recognize her deep and abiding love for her family and for the opportunity that she had to care for them and for her friends. We are grateful to have known her and wish her well now and her freedom to be camped where she wants to be. Ask a blessing upon her family and her friends to bless them with peace, with remembrance of her to encourage us always to demonstrate the strength and faith that Loretta was an example of. We ask for thy Spirit to be with us now as we go forward. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Janet. Next, we're going to have a special musical number by Tate Storey. He's going to give us a musical number. My mom always really enjoyed hearing him play the guitar, so she could just sit and listen to him for a long time. So felt fitting to have a little thing. Can you increase the volume a little bit on the 5-string? Sit this little part here.
Yeah, give me one.
Alright, so I'm going to be performing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I got the call 2 nights ago, so haven't had a whole lot of time to practice it. Kind of busted up my hand a little bit trying to learn it, but
You're gonna do great, kid.
yeah, but forgive me if there are any mistakes, but I'll try my very best. I already messed up. Oh, sorry again.
thanks again for coming. I'm going to walk through the life sketch. So, Loretta was born the 9th of January 1936. She passed away March 20th, 2025. She spent approximately 52 days of her life correcting people who called her Loretta instead of Lorita, which is odd because it's spelled Loretta, so I don't know how you would know otherwise. The late 30s and early 40s were an odd time. I mean, the Great Depression had ended, World War II wrapped up, but she loved to tell these stories about government rations, laces, rubber, and bubble gum. That's something that she always liked to just talk about that time, sort of fondness. I don't know why, but that's what she liked to do. She loved to tell stories about taking a bus or a train downtown and seeing a movie for a nickel. And she felt strongly that it was completely safe for an 8-year-old to adventure like that. An 8-year-old. If you ever wanted to get her amped up, just tell her that statistically speaking, the United States has been getting safer since abortion was legalized. That would be a great discussion point. Mom took an interesting turn when her parents divorced. She kind of started this nomadic lifestyle with her mom. And I'll tell you, I pressed her on this a lot, and I didn't get a lot of answers as to sort of, I could never quite kind of pin her down as to why we jumped the Greyhound bus and went to different cities. I'm like, were you guys in like witness protection? I mean, what was like going on, you know? And, later in her life, that would become sort of a bit of a theme with her brother, but I won't go into that. Let's see. From the stories that she told, it sounded like she was the primary breadwinner for the family. Often she, would talk about getting jobs at a very young age, generally, waitressing jobs, things like that. Let's see. Although she bounced around from city to city fairly often, she was an excellent student. Her natural curiosity drove her to always get to the root of a problem or an issue. She was fascinated as to how the human body worked and its efficiency, and had aspirations to become a doctor. That dream was not in the cards for her. However, a crash course in comptometry pointed her in the direction of bookkeeping and finance. Who knows what a comptometer is? It's those things you see in like cartoons, when they have the handle and like, they have the visor and the person's doing the numbers on a comptometer. It's kind of an early calculator, beyond the abacus, but not quite anything that way. So she learned how to do the comptometer. Let's see. Mom loved to solve problems. Give her a crate full of receipts and she'd be happy as a clam. She worked for many mid-sized and small businesses, namely Calsol, Sgt. Pepper Pottery, one of my favorites, Quality Block, and many others. At Quality Block, she got her first exposure to computers and programming with a Linux derivative called Mapper. She was hooked. She loved computers. She was a family search missionary working in technical support using all the latest collaboration and sharing tools. At 89, she was one of the most cybersecurity aware people I knew. Much more so than our current administration, unfortunately. My mom and dad met in Kansas City. My dad served in World War II and married a German Frau. Her name was Annie. He was married for 12 years when they divorced. Frank Storey, my dad's father, played matchmaker and set Richard and Lorita up on a date. They were supposed to see a show at the Starlight Theater. Dad showed up drunk. My mom was adamant that if he didn't get with the program, there would be no second date. He called her about a month later and completely straightened up, including throwing away all the very rare beer steins that he had in his collection, much to my mother's chagrin. They dated, fell in love, and got married. Mom's mother was ill at this point and made life very difficult on Lorita. After all, she was breaking up the band. She had to endure a constant attack on accusing her of abandoning her mother. My father was unable to have children due to a childhood illness. Mom wanted a family. Adoption was not so commonplace, especially in the church circles at that time, but she had a very advanced understanding of family, and they adopted my brother Sam, me, and my sister Shauna. She was a very good mother. I can't remember a night without a story. We all had a variety of books on occasion, and on occasion, she would bring out some of the scary stories from old books from her childhood. Stories of orphans being sucked out of chimneys. It was scary. I remember her sitting very close to me the first time I saw The Wizard of Oz at the theater with some of my other friends for a birthday party. She would whisper a soft warning to me when to close my eyes. That green witch. Oh, she was scary. Even though she worked at least part-time most of my childhood, she was very aware to spend time with the three of us. I never felt any shred of her absence or neglect. Her goal was always to stay home, but the finances would simply not allow it. At one point, she drove the school bus with one of us kids in tow. She loved telling stories of icy Kansas City streets and near-death experiences. She also taught dance. She was convinced that I was wasting world-class tap dancing talent when I quit at age 7. Mom would always match our level of enthusiasm for something, whether it was photography, BMX racing, clarinet playing, competitive gymnastics, or baseball. She recognized that trying different things meant that some things would not make the cut. She was definitely no tiger mom, with unrelenting pressure to excel. Some activities were meant to be fun. If they weren't, well, then quit. She has the dubious honor of having never been in a car accident or getting a speeding ticket. I had enough for both of us as a bad teenage driver. Secretly, she loved to hot rod too. She always couched in that, I need to be able to merge safely into traffic. That's hogwash. She loved those big V8 muscle cars. A very sad moment was when she had to give up her beloved 72 Duster. I remember learning to drive in that car. It had 3 gears on the column, and the clutch was so stiff. I begged her to let me put it in neutral at stoplights. Nope, she would have none of that. To say Mom was religious is a tremendous understatement. She and her mother were the only members on her side of the family and had to swallow a fair amount of opposition. She had a deep love and testimony of Jesus Christ. She always felt there was power in actions. I remember when our ward bishop announced from the pulpit that we needed to simplify Sunday meals, we had to endure a steady diet for years of tuna sandwiches, Kool-Aid, and Doritos. Some Sundays included onions in the tuna fish, depending on who won the weekly argument with my brother Sam. I remember Mom spearheading several failed attempts at family home evening. Even though Mom was a master at keeping kids' interest, it was hard to sit still and not pester my sister. On several occasions, FHE ended early with raised voices in our separate rooms. I cannot say that she never raised her voice. She threatened more than once to leave the church if she was released from primary. I think she might have the longest teaching streak and never having attended Relief Society. She simply thought her talents and interests were with the children. Going through her effects, I found note after note talking about how kind, loving, and inspirational she was as a teacher. She begrudgingly moved to Utah. She enjoyed the heat of Phoenix and hated the cold, but the pull of the grandkids was too strong. She loved spoiling my kids with candy, games, trips to the toy store. Even when she was shaking so badly and couldn't even sign her name, she never forgot a birthday with a card. She was known to pull money from the tire fund. Dawn knows what that means. She had a fund for everything, basically, even things that she didn't even know that she needed. She had a fund with money, so she would pull sometimes to take money from other funds when you needed a special present or a new bike or something. Let's see. Yeah. So anytime a present, something happened, she could seem to always be able to find, the money for that. She was always sacrificing for her family, from clothes to jewelry to furniture and even meals to ensure that we could play sports or gymnastics, have shiny new sneakers, or take a little vacation. She sacrificed for my dad. She was a very cautious caregiver. She tried so hard to give my father freedom in his later years, even though she knew the result would be extra work for her. Mom endured the most heartache of any mother, having to bury 2 of her 3 children. That guilt never left her. To her dying day, she second-guessed her decisions in regard to my brother's mental health and her stance with my sister in her alcoholism. However, she was very deliberate in her decision-making. Often, her personality and opinions eclipsed my dad, but they were a good team. The thing I remember most about my mom was her tireless cheerleading. She was my biggest fan. She was not perfect.
She led her life with an undeviating course. I remember when I was 3 asking her about Santa. She simply came to my level, looked me in the eye, and asked, "What do you think?" She lived a good life and earned her reward, and she's glad you're all here.
Next, we're going to open up. I think Kennedy wanted to say a couple things. If any of the siblings want to say something, anybody wants to say something, we've got a few minutes. If not, then we'll have a closing prayer by Brenda, right, personal friend of hers, and then we'll go to the grave for dedication.
All right. I don't really have anything prepared for what I want to share, but I knew that would kind of come to me as, as the day progressed. So in 2021, I had the pleasure of being able to interview my grandma. She did not want to do it at first. She's like, "Why do you want to know about me?" And I'm like, "Well, it's an assignment and I have to interview an old person. Can I talk to you?" She went, "Okay, fine, let's do it." And, it was, we were on, I asked her 10 questions and we were on the phone for almost 3 hours. And I remember just having so much fun talking with her and having this excuse of tell me more, right? Give me, I want all the details, make sure that I can get them all. And I wanted to share some of what she had kind of expressed to me. I hope you don't mind. So, so when asking, she wouldn't answer this question fully, but I asked her, who has been the biggest influence on your life and what lessons did that person teach you? So she didn't tell me who the influence was, but she was able to tell me to be myself and to be the best me that I can be, to not worry about what other people think, because what other people think about you is none of your business. And I remember hearing that last sentence and being like, what? It's none of my business? And I think just seeing the way that she's lived her life, I'm like, I can see how that's a maxim that you buy into. So I really liked hearing that wisdom. And she talked a lot of bubblegum. We spent 20 minutes talking about bubblegum. She would share how there was this big empty lot outside of her school, and the bombers would fly low, practicing coming in under the radar. And she would stand there in that open field holding a big V for victory up for them, and hoping that they saw it and that she could make an impact on being with them, or for them to see her. She remembers seeing photos of the soldiers at the movies when they would play the newsreels, sometimes soldiers in battle, and they used to show soldiers with Japanese with flamethrowers and would be using it against the caves, and she loved to see that. I don't know why she was telling me about flamethrowers, but I'm a little bit like that, so I can see how I get some of that from her, some of that fire. And then I wanted to share, any words of, and this was a really important question. I asked her, are there any words of wisdom that you'd like to pass along to me? And again, she said, be yourself, be the best you can possibly be, find happiness, and get back to what's important to you. And during that time in my life when this interview was happening, I don't think I had any other adult that could support me in managing through that. And she was able to just, I think, show up for me in such an adult, mature, and playful way that when I think about my grandmother, I think about this sense of play with her in every way that I think she lived her life. Even to her last, when I would visit her in her nursing care center, she talked a lot about times when she would play or when she would poke fun at others, and even till that very last step, I still felt like we could play and be young together.
conversations. I've done her hair for a long time. And as a hair designer, you hear lots of things from, anyway, and she taught all 4 of my kids in primary. She's very, some of my kids have struggled with church, and my one son, I think she was the one who got a kick out of it the most, but he would put normal clothes on and then he'd put his Sunday clothes on over it. And the minute he walked out of the door, he would strip off those clothes. And I was like, aren't you a little hot, Alex? Like, we're in double clothing, and Lorita would always just be so good with all my kids, no matter what they were going through, and she loved hearing about what the latest update was about them, and hearing of their struggles, and hearing, we shared a lot. I would tell her often of both my parents have passed, and they both had Alzheimer's, and the last few years of their life, they lived at Legacy Village, Provo. And I so tried to convince her that she should go move there because she would have a social life if she wanted it. And she was bound and determined, no, I don't need that. So we chatted about that a little bit. And I remember the kids coming when she watched them, you know, she loves talk about the kids. She was always a good neighbor. My one daughter cleaned her house and did some yard work. A little bit. There was another neighbor that did most of the yard work, but she was, I can always share with her my good things and my hard things. We shared therapy together, and she always had shared her love for the gospel, and I do know she always never, it was really hard for her when she was released as a prayer teacher, and when she was released from doing the genealogy stuff. I know that was really hard on her. I told her how grateful I was that she knew that she could give up driving on her own, because that's been a challenge with because I also lost my mother-in-law, my stepfather-in-law. My stepfather-in-law is actually buried at just where she, above her, and that was, and then I think it's yesterday was my father-in-law's. Sorry, Kleenex. Sorry. I think he'd be 94 today, but he passed away just after he turned 62. So it's been, I keep track of it because he passed on April 15th on tax day. And my second son was 31 years old. I'm sorry. My second son just turned 31 when he was 7 weeks old. And so I've shared a lot of hard things with her, and she's always helped me through it. And she would always tell me how sorry she was to hear about the decline of my mom. When I would start seeing her not recognize me or knew who I was. was telling Rob that I had plans to go see her, and we texted back and forth a little bit, and I had run some errands the day I planned to go see her, and I got sick, and I needed to head home, and then just a few days later, Rob let me know about her passing. I'm grateful that it was semi-fast.
Pretty darn fast.
And it's hard to watch someone decline so much that you love, but I think also it helps you just don't want them to suffer anymore, you know? And it's hard on a family going through the up and downs of the emotional, believe you me. And so I just love Loretta. And we have kind of some similar personalities. I have no filter. I have a pretty strong personality. My husband has to deal with me, and he's super shy, and I'm like, chat, Kathy. So, but her and I could chat forever, and I would always say, stay and visit with her, because I know she had some lonely days, I think. But I'm grateful that I got to know your family and a little bit more. Just through her eyes and through some of her challenges, and she's an amazing woman for enduring to the end. Is, you know, we have our earth life, and I'm grateful I got to share. I can't even tell you how long it's been that I've done her hair. I've done hair 40 years, so anyway, I'm grateful. I feel like she's a special friend, and I know she's transitioning to heaven and figuring out all the genealogy and dancing. So I told Rob, I know she's up there able to dance again, and
Put names to faces.
yeah, with all the things she did. So thanks for letting me share that. Is there anyone who wants to share?
Sorry,
I just want to make sure before I say what I'm saying.
So I'm Lorita's daughter-in-law. We're going through some stuff right now, but sorry. It's been like 13 and a half years, and she's strong willed, and our battle is actually me trying to give her natural remedies to help her and to be like a little more healthier, or have some more sunshine, or just like wanting to meal prep or something to like help her live the best or better life at the end. But I would say that would, like, we had something that we had to battle, was like me wanting to just like, come on, let me help you. And then she's like, let me be. Do not tell me what to do, and we're fine. But like, I love her to pieces. I've never met a more devout Mormon, quite frankly, which is like, even I'm a little child and over the top. But she's so devout. She's definitely where she wants to be. And she is, she has like the kindest heart, and she has the most sound and wise advice. If you can count on her to be there, and she's always been there for Rob and myself and the grandkids. Like, she's there, and she was alone a lot, and that sucked. But she never forgot anybody. Her mind was sharp as a tack. Her body may have failed with some fibromyalgia and pain and stuff, but she is sharp. She never lost her mind even an inch. And so if there was ever something going on, like, oh, having a health issue, she's like, okay, I want to hear like all about it. Let me try to figure out that, like we actually had that same thing in common. We both wanted to try to figure out what was going on and how we could help another person or the other person. And when when my kids were going through some difficult times, you don't always want to share like the details because you feel like there's going to be some judgment there. But she really like didn't. She's gone through so many things in her life, and has all their stories of like helping alcoholics get through to their cars and everything else. And she's working with the diner, and she's like a young lady. Like she didn't have that judgment that you might think she had. She actually just really cared, and she loved each and every one of you. I know she loved Lillian and Devin too, who saw her on live stream. I love all of you. Brenda, she just talked about you all the time, by the way. You meant so much to me. But she's headstrong, she's giving, she can make a mean turkey. I never got to have her biscuits. I heard they're amazing. And her snickerdoodles. And she just has a really huge heart. And I know that it's gonna be, I'm already missing. Like, I was excited to go over and bring her some of the puppies. My June had puppies, but I found a video the other day, and it's my June on top of Lorita on the and she's just loving on her, and it's like this secret thing that she really loves June. Like she loves June. Okay, it's a secret though. People do not know that she loves June. Anyways, I got a chance back in I think fall to have a sleepover at her house, and I got like the TV working in the bedroom, which has never worked. I don't know why she didn't have it. She only had a VHS. I'm like, come on, man, let's figure it out. We got a Bewitched playing, and she watched all of the Bewitched. It was like one of my childhood favorites. And so, anyways, I just want you to know that she's loved. I love her. I love her. And I'm grateful to the family, and I know it's going to be hard when you can't pick up the phone and make a phone call or get that really, really sound advice that she always had. She really had great advice, and I always thought my advice was great on help. But she just has a big heart, and she prioritized her family. So I just want to say thank you. Love you guys, and I love each one of you. Love Rob too, and thank you.
I just want to keep it brief. Kind of sad that I didn't get to see my grandma very often, especially later on in life. She was, she was really a rock for me as a child. When both my parents were working and would take me over to my grandma's house, she, as the theme has been today, she's just one of the most caring individuals I've just taking me to Toys R Us, having water fights with me, just really being caring. And I was going to church and I was in her primary class, she just could handle all the rambunctious 6-year-olds with ease. And if any of you know me, you know that when I was a child, I was very rambunctious, and she was able to rein me in. And I'm just really gonna miss my grandma, and I know she's in a better place. She's with my grandpa, and I think you guys put it beautifully, that I think she's dancing in heaven, and she's, as my sister said, putting faces to names. I feel like she really loved doing that. She really loved talking to her neighbors when we were outside playing, and she always made it so that I made friends in the neighborhood, and she was always just looking out for me. She always knew what my favorite sandwich was, what I loved on my sandwiches. loved each and every one of you, and I'm just gonna miss my grandma, so I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
I'll also keep this brief because I'm a pretty bad crier. It'll be only a little bit before I get too choked up to talk. But it's sad when it kind of gets to the end of life because, you know, I don't know a whole lot about my grandma, but the reason why is because she didn't ever want to talk about herself. She only ever wanted to know what you had going on, and she was only interested in your life, making sure that you were loved. I remember being, yeah, so how are you, Grandma? Oh, it's not important. How are you? How's school? All those things. She is such a wonderful woman. Huge heart. Big, big heart. Gonna miss her a lot. But she'll live on in our thoughts and prayers.
I'll take a second and
Of course.
share kind of an experience and kind of, when we were young, Rob's dad and my mom and her older sister used to get together. We all lived in the Kansas City area. And I was on the young side, and so Aunt Lorita and Uncle Lyman is what we always call him, which Lorita didn't like and changed his name when I was an adult. So we still think of him as that. But then they moved, we moved. My aunt stayed in Kansas City, and so we kind of lost touch. We kind of reconnected at you guys' wedding and came in, and Julie, I remember saying, well, I thought Rob was an orphan, and you know. So besides that, but so I was sitting there talking with your mom and your dad. She asked me to sign the card, and I joked with her. I said, I might sign Uncle Lyman instead of Richard, and I said, and Lorita, and she spells it for me. I was like, wow, that's kind of spelled like Loretta, but because I never really saw her name. But she started talking, so because they adopted, I'm sure she wanted children, and it probably was memorable. I was the youngest in my family, the only girl, and she talked about, she remembered when they brought me home. And so, you know, and all of this, and this like sweet memory, and then she followed it up, and now you're middle-aged. I was like, okay, and I made that remark to my brother. We're having a family picture at actually my son's wedding, and she started in with it again a little bit on that thing, and I kind of tried to steer the conversation. So I was like, how old do I look like? I'm sorry, I'm Rob's age. I'm older than Rob. Of course, Rob looks hot and young, but so I said to my brother as we're posing for this picture, I was like, well, I'm middle-aged again, and he said, well, at least she doesn't tell a story about you pooping your pants. So, I'll just leave with that, but that's kind of compliment followed up by like a blunt statement.
Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this opportunity that we have today to share and love on Lorita's life here on earth. Please, Heavenly Father, bless her as she is transitioning to heaven. Pray that she will give comfort to her family here in their time of need. We're thankful for her life that she lived and for the example she is to us and will always be. As we share of she has lost and met with, and many others through genealogy. I'm sure she is meeting and getting to know them. Grateful for this beautiful place that is provided and for this setting that we are in. Grateful we could celebrate her today. And again, Heavenly Father, please bless her family especially as they transition with taking care of the many things that will happen now, that they will have the peace and comfort that they need. As it's a challenging time. And we're grateful for the gift of being forever families, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
So I had everybody a bag of cookies. So those are her favorite cookies. So nothing lit her up more than those cookies. She loved the cookies. In the hospital, she's like, I can't have another bite of her meal. I'm like, what about a cookie? Well, maybe there's no cookie. So anyway, feel free to grab one, look through the pictures. We're going to go to the graveside, I think, here in just right now.
Yeah.
So if you stick around,